Hello guys, and welcome to another Early Waves on Cryptos. It's been a while since the last video, and we're here again, of course, with another QIC vote. And this time I'm going to have a quick look, as always, on BTC, of course, and NEAR, which, if I'm not mistaken, maybe we haven't probably looked through for more than a month and a half, 2 months, who knows, perhaps more. So there is, of course, some updates we need to do because markets are moving and we need to cater for the new price action and the new incoming data. Nothing has changed to the main yes in the short term is a bit different, and then of course the variations and the alternatives NEAR also something similar. So we're going to start with BTC, then go to NEAR. Let's not forget as well that none of this is financial advice, it's purely educational, just to help you make informed decisions when you want to open a trade or thinking about investing or trading. Without further ado, we're going to jump to the Bitcoin analysis first and then NEAR. But before I go ahead, I just want to remind you that I do have a Discord channel. You can have all the details displayed to you in the caption below on YouTube. There is a free version, paid version. You can join. Both have, of course, some perks. The one, of course, more than the other. But either way, there is a small community there, and I would love to see you coming in. So, BTC and then NEAR. Okay, guys, this is where we've left our count. Just as a reminder, this is my supercycle wave 3. Okay, and that going down is supercycle wave 4. So last time we left to, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for wave A. Then we said we're gonna get B, and then we're gonna get C. That means we're gonna stay in this territory between like 20, perhaps 35 or so, who knows, maybe higher. And for a few months at least, maybe a good half year, who knows. That of course assumes that markets, continue according to the expectation. The Wave 1 and 2 extension gives us around 138.2, which is okay for a third wave. It is extended, not as much. And usually the fourth wave is the one that would probably return to somewhere around the 61.8, I would assume, because we didn't go to 1618. So 38 is missing from 1 to this, and another 38 missing over to 61, probably, actually no, less than that. Around 23, I would say. So perhaps the 78.6 actually would be the equivalent correction when we look at the Fibonacci extension here. Okay, where would wave 4 return? The other, of course, is the 38.2 of the full leg 3, of the full leg, and the other is the 38.2 of leg 3, and that is around 26k. So is there more upside coming or not? Well, there is variations that indicate that there is others that indicate that there isn't. I personally believe we'll have one more wave to the upside, because as you can see here in the shorter term, guys, from the low off down up, things have changed a little bit. The structure looks corrective. Well, depends which part you look. But to try and not enforce things around structure. Yeah, I have concluded to this being a wave W, and there's either a wave X here. Yes, and I will explain why as well. That means I'm expecting an ABC with wave A having been done. Then probably are in wave T and wave B. We're gonna see a further move to the upside. Okay. So that said, I'm going to leave this over here and we're going to go in there soon. But before that, I want to show you the medium to short-term variation. Okay, and I'm starting with this. This is a similar sort of move to the downside, but let me maybe perhaps go down to the 8 hours. The difference between them two is that this sees this as an A and a B, right? And our wave C is an ending diagonal, and it's very likely a down case. That means that we're gonna go lower down, either for wave 5 or where, you know, I will show you the alternative. Maybe that's gonna be A and B instead, but let's not just go there yet. We'll just see this as correction now. And the idea is that we have an ABC with an ending diagonal. That is the medium-term variation, right? Medium to short, sorry. Now, a medium-term variation sees all of this move to the downside as wave A and a finished wave A, right? And the expectation is, of course, here to see an impulse here ending. And the assumption is that we'll have finished wave A. We're going to see a wave B. And from there, we're going to continue up for wave C, you know, probably crossing above the 30K again, okay? Because we're looking for an ABC correction here, and if we just finished wave A versus the W, X, and Y, for example, which still does have another leg up. And now we're gonna turn a little bit to the alternatives that you well know from before. I just changed their prioritization in terms of chances, you know. So you see the alternative one is over here, the W, X, and Y that we looked last time. One scenario, of course, is the W, X, and Y is here, but I don't really personally think that's the case. If this is ABC and then, you know, this is an ABC, it means that we're done here and we're going to move all the way up. It is possible within this, though I prefer that to be the case, okay, because that looks quite corrective, guys. That's the reality here. The second alternative is the scenario that I have been looking for months, okay, for this primary wave 4, and means that we're not even done with the fifth. We're going to see another leg up and then have the big fall, a bit unlikely. And the other one that is, I see personally as less likely even than this, is that we are done as an ABC and we're going to continue all the way up. We're going to start a new 5-wave impulse, okay, with wave 1 being close to the high. So that is the most bullish scenario. That is second bullish, and then as you can see, that is short-term bearish and then bullish, right? Now, going into the short-term stuff, okay? Let me just explain a little bit this correction and why I see what I see and why I expect what I expect. Maybe perhaps even the two hour will work. Here's the thing, guys, okay? I mean, I've worked out many different combinations, okay? And I found out that in order to respect each individual structure on its own and on a wider perspective as a pattern, this has to be a wave A, this has to be an ABC and an ABC, and this as a 5-wave move, of course, you know, means that this makes a flat. Now, if this is my A and this is my B and this is my C, a C that I still don't like, but it can be an impulse because you've got this sort of consolidation here that reminds a symmetrical move, which means we're fine, there is no overlap. This means our wave W ends here. Now, our wave W, as you can see, like it's 1 month long, pretty much, right? Now, guys, if it's 1 month long, you know, and wave X, it's an intervening wave, so it can be big or it can be small. What we mainly care about is that W and Y are similar to duration and length, okay? Usually that's the case. Now, regardless, you have 6 days for wave X, which is fine. And then from X to supposedly here, that being the end, you've only got 20 days. So if we had 30, let's say, right, probably go up to around the 25th of August, which, by the way, I have analyzed also in my paid group, and it is a given date for a potential turn in the markets. Now, is it going to be up or down? It's unknown, but it is a date, just to let you know. The other thing we also have to look, guys, is that if all of this thing is my A, B, and a C, and this is a W, right, and this is my X, even if you just see it from that perspective, I mean, what sort of structure is this? It's like a double duration from X and half the length of W, which doesn't make much sense. But if, okay, if, hold on, look. if we did this as a W and kind of replicate it over here, guys. Okay, it doesn't need to be the same, obviously, but we prefer that structure to match. Look, we're pretty much just still fighting to get higher above, you know. So there is chances for the 100, of course, that we're going to get up to around the 28.5K, right, with this move to the upside. Now, if we assume that this is A and B, okay, and this is what I'm actually saying, I'm looking at a flat over here, and then I want to see wave 3, 4, and wave 5, and from there start shorting. Now, as you can see, the channel has to be changed as well, because with channels, we have to connect the 0 and the correction. So the 0, the beginning of W, it's down here, X wave is here. I cannot connect the channel down here because it's not relevant to the count, if that makes sense. So the idea here, guys, is that we are correcting, okay, and there is potential for 28.5, as I said before. Who knows, perhaps higher, but yeah. The idea here is that we have an ABC, yeah, and within this ABC, we are looking at a running flat, yeah. Look at this, because you got 1 and 2, you got 3 and a flat 4, and you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Perhaps even we've finished here. And then we're going to start moving higher. If we're not finished, then it means that we're going to see one more leg down. There is different variations and different expectations, guys. But 1, 2, you know, 1, 2 here, then 3, actually 4 and 5. Yeah, perhaps one more down. Oh, no, that's actually fine. Sub, that is the sub. Yeah, so it still remains to be seen whether it's going to be a running flat or okay, yeah, 5, it's fine. A running flat or a expanding flat, yeah. So we expect to see something like this. That's the idea, at least, right? Now, looking at some of the FIBO ideas here, the 2385 has been a level. It still seems to be holding. Also, so far, all of these are actually assumed as a potential false break, right? On a different note, I was looking at a different one, like what ABCDE for a triangle here, and then 5, but then we corrected here, so that's not the right one. Yeah. Yeah, guys, so I'm actually looking at one more leg down here for the potential end, because we need to have a third low here. That's the first, that's the second. So we're either gonna see something like this, in my opinion, or something like this. Okay, in one case the fourth is in the other case maybe oh, hold on, 1, 2, 3, no, in both cases the fourth is not in, but in one case maybe this is A or is C, but it most likely looks like a C because you've got this, you know, ABC, and here you got an ABC, right? So ABC, ABC. So the other chance is that in the very short term that this continues down from where it is. It sets new low, which means we can draw a new diagonal trend line for the ending diagonal here. Okay, so this is the short term as well, guys, for me. Now there is a variation here in the short term, and I want to show you it because you may want to, you know, look at it. Look at this. So we still have the W, X, and Y. Yeah, this one sees a bit more upside, and I will explain why. Because instead of X having ended down here, we have an A, B, C, D, and an E, which is a triangle in wave X. Okay, and now you might ask, since W is that big, why would I just not give X some space to move as well onto the direction of the time? And the answer is, there is two reasons, guys. First of all, this looks like an impulse, and this looks like an impulse. Okay, so I do have an issue with those two being part of a triangle. That's two sort of comments. Most importantly, however, it's the fact that this triangle, it's stuck at the top of W. It's like stuck. It's like, you know, it's like sucked at the top of the wall here. And this is not the usual triangle that you're going to see in a WX and Y or in another actually pretty much move. You might see that on the fourth wave. Usually in ABC, you don't see that. You see the triangles in ABC being something like this. They come down quite a bit, you know, and then they go up, or the third and the fourth. But in WX and Y, because you got this sort of range to play with, you know, the triangle has to kind of be around the pivot point from the bottom all the way up. Now, look at this. If we do that, we did get a decent correction, right? We did the 50, but we ended up to 23. That makes it quite bullish for a triangle of a WX and Y, if that makes sense. And that is why, of course, it has a different target as well. But what I would have preferred to see, I would have preferred to see something like this. Yeah, and ended around the 50, if that makes sense, right? Rather than what we see now. So that's why it's the alternative. Also, at the same time, it gives us a shorter wave A, okay, which brings this into question because it could be an ABC, like we expect with the main scenario in the short term, but also it could be wave 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. Actually, no, it could be the same as the main. And then we get ABC and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because if this is my W, that cannot be my A, right? But if this is the W, that can be A, because that's actually the A as well over here. So let me just quickly show you as well. Look at this. Length and duration. And look at this. Pretty much, you know, fractally speaking, they are similar. Okay, and this is what we prefer to see. So that's why the main is with A, B in here and B, B here, and then we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I think that's all there is, guys. For questions, leave your comments. And if something is not understood, well, maybe you need to do a bit more reading, but make sure to leave your comments. Now, the main for near, and let's go on the daily. This is the one, guys. Okay, so that one says 1, 2, 3, 4. We ended up in 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a correction, and then again A and B and C. Very similar to BTC, okay? And if you look at the structure from the top as well, down to the low, you know, the full structure from the top, you just got a rejection of 38.2. A very important level, especially for wave 4. Even if you take the third, pretty much the same thing, right? Because the wave 2 is very, very, very deep, right? So that's one of the cases, guys. Obviously, the other one is that this is A and B, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we finished here. We're going to see that turning some sort of leading diagonal, or, you know, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we're just going to shoot to higher levels, and, you know, now we're going to return back here. Do I think that's the case? I don't think that's the case. That's why I have the ABC here. Even if this is an ABC, guys, I would prefer, you know, if that proves to be some sort of correction, I would have this as W and a deep X and then another wave down for Y, rather than the end is here. Any count, okay? Maybe you can say that's a bit biasing because of the fundamentals and all that stuff, but yeah, well, we've got to look at everything, guys. We're not changing short-term directional stuff because we are biased on or locked on a certain mindset, okay? Because there's different types of biases. We are biased because of the economic environment. So yeah, do I think it's gonna pump up and go to fresh highs? No, I don't. Do I think that if it pumps up, it can go perhaps up to 10 or so? Yes, if we see an alt season, that is possible. But if that happened, you know, it's unlikely that will still be a wave 4, because it will have, you know, come and corrected quite a bit of the move to the downside to assume it. So it would turn directly into a WX and Y, right? That's why things are simple. Now, okay, this channel is not a good idea because, you know, it's just not, but we keep that in mind just in case. Sometimes we do see some sort of corrections ending here. So there is potential for a bit more upside, around 660 or so, right? Let's say invalidation of this particular count is at wave 1. Now, before we go to the short term, I want to show you the alternative, one of the alternatives, and then the second of the alternatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, ending up here. This is an A, B, and a C. Okay. You might say, how is that different? Well, it's not much different. What we actually see, though, we see a flat, an expanded flat in wave 2. What does this mean, guys? Is that for the longer term, when we're going to go and expect the wave 4, wave 4 is going to be shallow, okay? And, well, depending on where we end, obviously, but, you know, you've got a sideways with a downside bias pattern, which is the expanded flat, versus the expectation according to guidelines in wave 4. And the expectation will be for something sharp and simple, so an ABC. So I might be quick. You know what this means? That the fifth has more chances. The fifth has more chances to shoot higher. Okay, so we're talking about long term now. So this is one of the differences. The other difference is that cannot be A, B, and C. That's going to be the end of it, and then we shoot up. Okay, that's why it's an alternative, because this is one low and then all the way up. The main sees one low, another high, medium sort of term, and then one more low, and then up. Okay, and another alternative, it's very bullish, very bullish. We'll have a leading diagonal. You got ABC, 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 and ABC, and of course this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 supposedly, although it looks like an ABC. Because the truth is that I don't want to call that a W, X, and Y. And I will tell you why. Because I don't like how much it extends. Because it's a very big extension, guys, down here, right? We've got a line 200%. So, you know, there's more chances it's an extended wave to the downside as like third and then fourth and the fifth rather than what we see. That's why my main is my main. Now, if this is the case, okay, instead of a W, X, and Y, then, you know, we could be done here, right? We could be done and then we should higher. But, and fortunately or unfortunately, I still consider one more leg to the downside, maybe even more. Why? Because it's a leading diagonal. I'm just going according to guidelines, right? Guidelines suggest that usually leading diagonals do 80% or so, okay? I mean, we've done quite a bit of it, like 2/3 perhaps, but according to guidelines, that can go lower. Now, if you also think that this is the first and the second wave, you know, plus leading diagonal, maybe it's going to do more than that, okay? But this is the alternative I am referring to here, and this is the alternative I want to leave you go in peace with. Now, in the short term, guys, and back to the main, look at this. So you've got the 1 and the 2, the 3, and supposedly the wave 4, right? What does it look like to you? Does it look like it's a 5? No, not either to me. And then that is probably W, X, and Y in here. So you've got W and X, and you've got another ABC. That's what I see, okay? So over here, hold on, that should be here really. Okay, so over here, actually I should connect that down here, my fault, sorry. We do see quite of an extension, right? We do see quite of an extension that comes up to, look at this, like nearly 161.8. I would expect to see something like this if I had like a leading diagonal in wave A, for example, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but that seems to be an extended case, right? Well, it is a bit questionable, obviously, but I would have preferred something like this if it was on the downside and we would be in a situation that we are now, because the extensions are expected to be more deep given we get very deep corrections. But correction to the upside is not so usual to be that high. So with that said, if we do break above that level and we stay above that level for more than 3 days, we can look at potentially changing this to, you know, expecting a W, X, and Y, and we're going to go higher, perhaps to 10, 15, who knows, before falling, right? But until I yeah, we remain below that level, okay, we are still valid on this scenario. This is when I change my counts, okay, when significant things happen. Now, given that, it's not like I'm pushing for anything here, but that brings us to an ABC that looks complete, okay, because you've got a leading diagonal 3, 4, and 5 proven by the volumes, an ABC, 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 ABC for a triangle with decreasing volumes. I would prefer less, but, and you got 1 and 2, and you got 3 and 4, you got ABC, ABC, ABC. Thank you very much. Okay, that's what I see. Now, can we stay above 460 even if we fall? Because, you know, that is likely to get down here, at least for a retest initially. And that retest might be coming here and then falling down, or coming here and continuing higher. And you might say, what would that mean? Well, that could mean that, you know, maybe instead of ABC, well, this is like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or maybe, yeah, that's it. And you've got something like of a leading diagonal here. But then you call that a correction of a leading diagonal? Because I don't. It looks horrible. But yeah, you see, that's the reason I'm not trying to enforce things. That looks like an ABC, so it must be an ABC. I'm not going to tell you it's a 5 wave just to give you an alternative. These are all the alternatives I have, and I am looking at this potentially at having ended. Now, you might say BTC is expected to go up. So what is going to happen with this? Well, guys, if BTC goes up, doesn't mean that altcoins are going to go up. Like, actually, if you think of a relationship, BTC dominance, you know, it's going up when altcoins are falling. So it is something that we can see happening. Maybe it can go sideways here for a long time, you know, while BTC is going up. We don't know, but I'm not looking at them as total when I'm doing my count, right? I'm looking at each individual account and each individual pattern, each individual structure separately, and then I make my conclusion. So I hope this helps. I hope it helped. And well, that's going to be all for now. Take care, and we'll speak again hopefully soon.